So this morning in Jamie's practice, I had this idea of explaining it in terms of, and I have to draw a second image at the same time because I see it in two ways. And so this is, these are just different shapes. You know how yantras are shapes of like how consciousness comes into form? So there's different shapes that have different resonances. So I'm going to show this in two shapes. This is the shape of the diamond, and this is like the peace sign shape over here. So we're going to look at both of these. And so if we look into the yogic scriptures with this, we find the four aims of life, right, where we have I'm just going to write them this way. We have moksha, this path of liberation, and like as a flip side of it, we have artha, which is like A-R-T-H-A, which is like your body, like how to have stuff. It's your house. It's your bank account, right? Your retirement account. It's like, do you have your stuff? Including like the stuff of your body to be able to explore some of the other areas of life. The other two we have with awake living, this is the four aims of life. We use this both in yoga and in Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, we actually use it diagnostically, which is so freaking cool, right? That we can diagnose what's going on depending on these quadrants. In yoga, we use it to just help guide our path. Okay, so then we have kama, which is pleasure, right? And this, to me, is like when people said things like joy, right? Like pleasure. There's also an ease that happens with kama. And for those who aren't familiar with this teaching, this is also where like Kama of Kama Sutra comes in. And then we have Dharma. Dharma is, again, like the translations change over time. So in the past, in a less liberated society, it showed up as duty. In a more liberated society, it shows up as purpose. And as a man thinketh yesterday, we kind of went through that, right? With like people that don't have that great sense of purpose, they just start with duty. Like do whatever you're doing exceedingly well. And something starts to build. So we can, this is a cool thing about perennial teachings is while the translations change as per the society, as per cultural evolution, the concepts stay the same. So the concepts anchor us. So if we look at awake living, to me, it means that there's air, sorry, I didn't define moksha. Did I? Yeah, so it's liberation. And its feeling experience is free or unbounded. And I find its experience is also interconnected. So it's living a life of like very deep interconnection. The more I step into Dharma, the more I get connected, right? So these all are in relationship to each other. There's certain places where you have black holes. Some people are like, I don't get my Dharma. Other people are like, I have no money in the bank. Right? Other people are like, I am not well in my body. And so what this helps us look at is like, what are the areas that we're like some of you are amazing in kama. I learned kama from some of you of like, it's just good. I actually have a good little passage from The Splendor of Recognition, which actually isn't from this. I'm not going to read. I'm going to read a passage that's in here from the Vijnana Bhairava that I think explains the concept of kama exceedingly well. And so did he. That's why he put it in here. When one experiences the expansion of the joy of savor arising from the pleasure of eating and drinking, one should meditate on the perfect condition of this joy. Then one would become full of great bliss. When a yogi mentally becomes one with the incomparable song of joy and other objects, then of such a concentrated yogi, there is identity with that, incomparable joy, because he becomes one with it. Whenever the mind finds its satisfaction, let it be concentrated on that. In every such case, the true nature of the highest bliss will shine forth. Right. So all of these, interestingly enough, they're all interconnected, and they can help lead to the other. So I just want to show on this, we could say that all of this is moksha, which is why it feels interconnected. And then we would just plug in artha, kama, and dharma being in right relationship. And that gives rise to the experience of liberation, not as something separate, right? Not as like just sitting in samadhi, but as something that's showing up in how we have a house, how we have a bank account, how we have a body, how we experience the joy. I have a client I'm working with who we were working more with kama as a way of settling her nervous system for some really aggressive autoimmune disorder. And last week, I'm like, we had such a breakthrough because we're using trigger, habit, reward. Some of you may have heard me mention this. We're using the trigger is the early morning, the habit is meditation, and the reward is checking her email, because she's going to check her email anyways. Right? She has this urgency to get to her email, so we're just translating that urgency into the urgency to get to the cushion. So she has 4 children. She started doing this. She did it for 7 days, and she reports back, it's changing things. I'm so enjoying these little moments, these just super ordinary moments that arise with my children or with my puppy or with my, and it's like, that's kama, right? And we start to see it get integrated off the cushion to on the cushion. Dharma gets, the more aligned we are in awake living, the bigger the Dharma actually gets. It starts to get big. The word guru in Sanskrit means heavy. We have a lot of issues with the word guru, but it's such an important concept. When you start to build guru energy in yourself, you help others. You can help lead and guide. So don't be afraid of that word. Like, that's a necessity to this whole thing expanding, which we know the universe is expanding, and it's what we want to do. We know when we sit in meditation, time and space expand, like we have a tangible experience of this, or maybe we've just had a flash tangible experience of this, maybe we have it moment by moment, sometimes we have it daily. We want to train our operating system, our physiology, our nadis, or our subtle energetic channels, to be in a state of groundedness and constant expansion, because that's what the universe does. That's who we are. When any piece of the puzzle is like a big shadow issue, like just we're not dealing with it, it diminishes the whole. There's amma. That's the way that I sense it. It's like there's just like chunks in the field that don't allow the whole thing to pulsate in more and more moksha to be experienced. Yes?
I've been observing that people have such different paths, right? So some people work really on their health, another person really works on their business, another person really works on like just having fun in life, whatever. And it always blew my mind how they always come to the same place. And this diagram for me explains or gives a picture to how these different paths really reach to the same place if you have that idea of moksha in mind. So if you do your business path with the idea of transformation, or you do your health path with the idea of transformation, will always lead to this expansive moksha place. Anyway, this is good for me because I love pictures, and I think in pictures. So when I see this, like, oh, this is awesome.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Sweet. Anyone else? Yeah, Jamie.
And I really like this diagram. I wasn't really, you were flipping back and forth, and that really sums it up so beautiful. Oh, sorry. Alexander, what Alex said. It's like those 3 are the pillar that hold up the possibility of moksha. I mean, moksha's always there, but are we in touch with it? How much are we in touch with it. And if one of those three, like you said, if it's diminished, if it's covered up, the moksha just can't come here. So it's a beautiful visual, like Alex said, and it creates a really strong bob around where it's going when you get there. So
yeah, and it's like it's always there. Ease is always here, but are we living it? Is that our experience? Right, and that's where you say like, oh wow, that's our potential experience. And it's not just like, there's the evolutionary impulse is what is causing all these three to expand, right? So it's continually expansive. One of the things in our circling group we practiced yesterday is being able to sit in higher vibrations. For each of us, their vibrations were a little bit different, right? But it's like just that practicing, and it's shaky. I think this thing is like, that's why these are not like lines, they're curves. It's like there's a being able to contain more and more vibration, right, in a grounded way. Yeah. So what we're going to do in our circling is really, and I'll give you a moment to reflect on this, just personally, and in circling, you can ask, anything like what you want help with, right? So you might want just some help, like, hey, can we sit in this right now? I'm having, like, I struggle with karma, or I struggle with artha, and just like my body stuff or my wealth stuff, or like around purpose, and just letting it be a group exploration.